Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
City News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News, which is live from our studios at number 11 Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live across the country on a number of affiliate stations. But before then, we'll bring you the headlines. My name is Wilma Obuobisa-Coleman, and I'm here with
Eno Safo.
Coming up over the next 1 hour, government expresses commitment to safeguarding the press following attack on UTV.
We stand with UTV, we stand with the persons who are hosts and panelists on these programs, and we are clear, even in the text of the statement, that press freedom is something that should not be undermined in any way.
Also coming up, former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa wants the case against her by the OSP expedited. Still ahead in the bulletin, Central Regional ECG begins investigations into alleged assault on a 65-year-old woman by a debt recovery team. And later, we'll guide you through the 2023 Literacy Challenge hosted by Citi TV and Citi FM, where Armstrong Nelson Jikunu, a student from Jaira International School in Ashaman in the Greater Accra region, emerged as winner.
The Literacy Challenge winner 2023, Armstrong Nelson Jikunu.
Well, stay tuned. We'll bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is also live across the country on a number of partner stations. In the Western region, we are on Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa and Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady. In the Bono region, we are live on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, this is Adrimpa 99.9 FM in Nkarie. In the Volta region, this is Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoe and Freedom 88.1 FM in Sogakope. In the Northern region, Radio Gahi 88.3 FM in Sabgoba. In the Upper East region, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. And in the Northeast region, we are Nobia FM 98.1 FM in Nalerigu.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your time this afternoon. We'll settle for the details of our stories now. Government says it is worried by the growing level of intolerance in the political and media landscape. This follows the invasion of Accra-based UTV by 30 individuals affiliated with the New Patriotic Party who disrupted a live show in protest of comments made by one of the panelists. The police have arrested 16 people allegedly involved in the incident. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, Information Minister Kojo Opon-Nkrumah said government will continue to strengthen institutions mandated to protect the media.
The level of tolerance in our political discourse and our democracy is going down. That is why, in addition to the short-term measure, which is to essentially get the police that listen, get involved and deal with this matter right now, extend a hand of support to the specific journalists and the media house that may have been affected by it, and issue a statement condemning it, in addition to the short one. That is why we called all stakeholders to the table and said, how do we address this thing? And we came up with two media support programs. One was what we call the Coordinated Mechanism for the Safety of Journalists. And the second was the Media Capacity Enhancement Program. Two programs to help sanitize the space. On the Coordinated Mechanism of the Safety of Journalists, you will recall we put a framework together, went to Cabinet for a no objection, and in accordance with what the Constitution prescribes, we then handed it over to the National Media Commission to execute. Again, if you recall, the NMC helped us to set up an office at the old NMC premises in the local government enclave, just around Kempinski Hotel. And you will recall when the Citi FM incident occurred with Caleb, it was this office that led the investigation and quickly came up with its recommendations for action.
Government thus expressed its commitment to safeguarding media organizations in the execution of their responsibilities.
I think the evidence is clear. We may not have put it in text in the statement, but the evidence is clear that we stand with UTV, we stand with the persons who are hosts and panelists on these programs, and we are clear, even in the text of the statement, that press freedom is something that should not be undermined in any way. If you ask anybody, especially because of my personal track record, if you ask anybody, we have been consistent from January 2002, dealing with the police, asking for accountability from the police. That's why I'm mentioning names. You can speak to the CID boss herself. You can speak to the NMC principals about how many times we have consistently been followed, because we stand clearly with journalists, with journalism, with panelists in these instances. When we say that, we also go on to encourage the media to do their work and bring cohesion across the country. We are not laying blame at anybody's doorstep. I can understand how some people may want to interpret it in that particular, but I think that if you look at the evidence of everything we have done, people or anybody should not take that last paragraph and then now use that to flip the conversation that it means we are not committed to this. No, I think that the evidence of what we have done from 2022 is clear.
You had Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah.
Meanwhile, the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiagba, said the disciplinary committee of the party will take action against the individuals.
If these individuals, if there were any communication person amongst them, that individual will not be deployed any longer so long as I remain the Director of Communication. Now, the aspect of discipline that is beyond my pay grade, what I can do per your urging would be to have draw the attention of the disciplinary committee to take a look at it through the General Secretary. And that commitment exists. And if you see the statement we issued, we demonstrate or emphasize our commitment to ensuring that the police have full access to whatever information they need to be able to further their investigation, to arrive at a certain finding that will give us all some full picture of what the motivation was, and if anything is found to have been done wrong, that the individuals are held accountable. So we have that commitment, and we have demonstrated that we stand by that. But the specific matter of internal discipline, that is something, we can prod the system to see it through the General Secretary's office, but it won't be something that we can enforce from the Communication Director.
Richard Ahiagba is the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party.
Now, away from that, former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapar wants the court to award costs against the Office of the Special Prosecutor and dismiss the application for the confirmation of the freezing order of her accounts and seizure of some monies found in her home. The MPP politician has accused the Office of the Special Prosecutor of acting in bad faith in seizing her money and freezing her bank account. In her affidavit in opposition of the OSP's written court, the former minister insisted that due process was not followed. There's more on the former Sanitation's minister's statement on the court.
The former Sanitation Minister argues that the motion by the Office of the Special Prosecutor is absurd, grounded on false allegations and brought in utmost bad faith, and brazen disregard of Act 959 and the court's ruling on August 31, 2023. Madam Cecilia Dapar also indicates that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has not been able to demonstrate in his application that the money seized from her matrimonial home and the funds in her bank accounts are tainted property as defined by Act 959. She also indicates that the condition precedent for the applicant to classify the funds in her bank accounts as tainted property as a result of a specified corruption offense had not been met. In the affidavit in opposition, the NPP politician took the opportunity to outline circumstances leading to the re-seizure of the money and the re-freezing of her bank accounts. She indicated that on September 4, she received a call to report to the Office of the Special Prosecutor at 10 a.m. on September 5. On the said day, she claims to have arrived at the applicant's office premises with her lawyers at 10 a.m. According to her, she was informed that the meeting had been arranged to facilitate the return of the seized money to her as ordered by the court on 31st August 2023. She indicates that she was made to wait to about 2:30 p.m. when the money was released to her at the 7th floor of the office of the Special Prosecutor. However, within minutes of making her way to the car park with the money, she was directed to return to the 7th floor with the money. She got to the 7th floor and was told by one of the applicant's officers that he had the pleasure to inform her that the applicant was re-seizing the money. The former sanitation minister believes that the office of the Special Prosecutor has no basis for this application. According to her, her counsel has advised her that the office of the Special Prosecutor, having exercised his administrative powers to re-seize the money and to re-freeze her accounts on September 5, 2023, cannot justify his suspicions by relying on a caution statement that she gave after the re-seizure and re-freezing. She also believes that the applicant, thus the office of the Special Prosecutor, is stopped from relying on the same facts contained in the August 8 application which the court dismissed to re-seize the amount of money and to re-freeze her accounts without first obtaining a warrant or court order for a fresh search and or seizure. She further indicates that the office of the Special Prosecutor has not demonstrated that there is any basis to suspect the money found at her home to be from a corrupt source, or the funds in her bank account are tainted property or proceeds from corruption or corruption-related offences. Madam Cecilia Dapa also expressed concern as to the failure of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to consider that the funds in her accounts include her earnings from various past employments, pension and treasury bill investment, among others, which in her view cannot be tainted property by any stretch of imagination. She's thus urging the court to dismiss the application with punitive costs against the applicant, thus the Office of the Special Prosecutor, for abuse of the court's due process.
The report was filed by Citi News' Hansing Ajiman.
Some students of the University of Education, Winneba, currently studying in Togo, have accused the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat of neglecting them and breaching the terms of their program. According to the group, they are entitled to an allowance of 45,000 CFA franc allowance per month, 60,000 CFA franc for book allowance, and another 60,000 CFA franc for health allowance. But speaking to Citi News, spokesperson of the students, Guy Christ Smith Mauli, said the Scholarship Secretariat only paid 2 months of their allowance and has defaulted in the payment of the remaining 2 months' allowance.
The reason they are giving is that they say there's no money. And the question we are asking is, how come they paid our colleagues in Benin in full and not paying us in full here? And they said we should leave our bank details so that when we come to Ghana, they will pay us. But something that we don't believe, because we believe that the money has been released. Because for them to pay those that are in Benin in full, it means the money has been released. The government will not do budget halfway, no. So that is the problem on the ground, and that is a challenge we are facing here. And we'll try our best to reach out to them through the embassy here in Togo, and then still no avail. We fall on the department on several occasions, that is back to campus. Still no avail. So that is why we are taking this medium in order for us to get our money. People are here, they are stranded. Majority of them has borrowed money from people here. Some have bought things on credit.
Guy Chris Smith Mauli is the spokesperson for the French students in the University of Education, Winneba, studying in Togo currently.
The Coalition of La Residents is urging the La Traditional Council to provide updates on the 114 acres of land recently released to it by the government around the Burma Camp catchment area. This call is on the back of meetings held between the military and council, prompted by the military statement claiming it had not received directives from the Ministry of Defense to release the lands. In view of this, the coalition is worried that the council's silence regarding developments related to to the lands suggests council members have been influenced. Addressing the media, Jeffrey Latte, the coalition's spokesperson, emphasized that residents are ready to take action if the council continues to remain silent.
As we sit here, we are beginning to think that women have been given something. They have taken something and kept quiet. And this is where our strongest warning goes. If women do not take care and just an handkerchief size out of the 114 is taken from them, we shall prove to them that we are the people of land. We are not going to allow for one handkerchief size of that land to be taken. Not an handkerchief size. And I'm repeating this because we are serious on this. That's not an handkerchief size of that 114 acres. We will go as we live. It will be over our dead bodies. If we have to now fight, we will fight tooth and nail and make sure the entirety of that 114 acres is reclaimed for the people of land. And we will do that.
You heard spokesperson for the Coalition of La Residents, Jeffrey Latte.
Now, education think tank Africa Education Watch is calling on government to invest in literacy in order to see a significant increase in the proficient rate among primary schools. This comes on the back of a revelation by the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, that a study by the National Standardized Test conducted in 2022 on the reading abilities of primary 2 students showed that 62% could not read. Speaking to Citi News, Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, says investing in literacy in basic schools will require government to provide the full complement of textbooks and training of teachers in order to see the intended results.
The issue is that we have to be intentional in improving literacy. I think that government has to invest in literacy. Under the IMF program, government has committed to invest in primary education and teaching and learning. We've seen some improvement in the provision of textbooks, but we still have a long way to go. About 40% of the textbooks we require are still not available in our primary schools, even though about 60% of them are currently available. And so investing in literacy, investing to enhance proficiency in our basic schools require government providing the full complement of textbooks, in addition to the continuous training of teachers, strengthened supervision, which we have been seeing Gallup deliver, under the Ministry of Education. I believe that it will take some time to see tangible results, manifesting by way of improvement in literacy and numeracy.
Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare.
Now, a recent report by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, in collaboration with the non-governmental organization Girls' Excellence Movement, has uncovered alarming statistics regarding sexual assault among female students in the senior high schools. According to the report, 51.9% of female students between the ages of 11 and 22 experienced sexual assault between 2019 and 2021. This abuse was perpetrated by various individuals, including teachers, friends, family members, schoolmates, and even strangers. Additionally, the report highlighted that these young women also faced other forms of gender-based violence, such as physical assault, bullying, and harassment. The organizations behind the report called on the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service to provide resources for counseling units in schools to address this troubling trend.
Meanwhile, education think tank Africa Education Watch is encouraging victims and parents to speak up on such cases of abuse. He further called on the Ghana Police Service to see to the conclusion of such gender-based assaults until we see the prosecution of perpetrators.
Or continue to call on parents, call on school authorities, and call on students, both boys and girls, that anytime school-based gender violence occurs, especially sexual violence, they should be encouraged to report. And when no action is taken, they should move to the high authority and report to the school authority if indeed the school authority is actually being complicit in not pursuing the case within the proper parameters. We also want to urge the police. There are countless examples of cases getting to the police and then they themselves will actually facilitate a resolution. All those things must end. Parents must be encouraged to see, to the conclusion of such cases instead of negotiating the settlement and then all that. Until we continue to prosecute and have successful convictions for school-based gender violence, especially sexual violence, into the double digits, it will be difficult for us, to send a clear signal to all of society that school-based violence, especially sexual violence, is a no. And it touch on today. And so everybody must be concerned. And let's encourage our girls to speak up. Let's encourage our boys to speak up. Let's encourage parents to speak up. And let's encourage school authorities to also report to law enforcement. Thank you.
You heard the Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asari.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still to come in the bulletin, Central Regional ECG begins investigations into alleged assault on a 65-year-old woman by debt recovery team. We'll bring you details of this and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Isn't it amazing how something as simple as clean hands can change the world around us? Let's take a moment to appreciate the power of clean hands. Imagine the possibilities when you keep your hands clean. Allow me to remind you of some 5 instances when clean hands can make all the difference. Before indulging in your favorite banku, gobe or wache, after a visit to the restroom, while caring for a loved one who needs your support, right after you've sneezed, coughed, or handled a tissue, and every time you touch public surfaces. Think about it. Clean hands mean our children can go to school without worries, our hospitals can provide top-notch care, and our workplaces can thrive. These moments might seem trivial, but they keep you and those around you safe and healthy. This message is brought to you by WaterAid Ghana. Follow us on social media for more tips on hand hygiene.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. We'll go to the Central Region where the Electricity Company of Ghana's Regional Directorate has begun investigations into an alleged assault on a 65-year-old woman by a debt recovery team at Adade in the Gomwa East District. This incident follows allegations of another assault on a medical doctor by the same team just last week. According to the victim, the team entered her premises without permission and accused her of connecting power illegally. In an interview with Citi News, the Central Regional Communications Officer for the ECG, Awal Mama Boy, spoke to Citi News.
We have some military officers working in the Kaswa enclave or within the Kaswa districts. Now, these military men are not mere military men, they are engineers, and so they are supporting ECG with regards to a couple of projects we are undertaking. Sometimes when our officers go out to work, the environment is sometimes hostile. We were not at the scene, so I will not be able to really ascertain what really transpired. However, management is carrying out investigations to ensure that we will give the full detail in due course.
You had the Central Regional Communications Officer for the ECG, Awal Mama Boy.
The medical director of Pantine Hospital, Dr. Frank Benin, has called upon the government and relevant stakeholders to join forces and provide substantial funding and crucial support to mental health institutions in the country. This, he stressed, is vital for sustaining the operations and initiatives aimed at addressing mental health challenges in the nation. Dr. Benin's plea comes in the context of Pantine Hospital's ongoing Operation Set the Captives Free initiative, which seeks to reintegrate 300 individuals with mental illnesses into society. He emphasized that investing in mental health institutions is pivotal for the country's progress in this critical area.
National health insurance. Can you imagine if we are able to get them on board to say that, oh, wherever you pick up the streets, we're going to pay for it? In the shortest possible time, you wouldn't see anybody on the streets, homeless, with a mental illness. Okay, but these are things that once we're able to bring all the right stakeholders on board, we can take care of them, especially local government. Because the most important thing is to make sure that the person is getting their medication once they go into their communities. And two, if possible, engage them in some form of meaningful, playable skills. Those are the two very key things there. Then I would say three, educating the families to be able to receive them so that the stigma issues will go down. Because stigma is a big thing. It's what leads to the discrimination of these people and then their neglect, and then sometimes people abusing them on the streets.
You heard the medical director of the Pantine Hospital, Dr. Frank Benin.
Now, the Ghanaian Doctors and Dentists Association UK has ratified a memorandum of understanding with the Ghana Medical and Dental Council. The aim is to make it easier for Ghanaian doctors, specialists and dentists in the UK to obtain accreditation to both teach and carry out charity projects back home in Ghana. Citi News' Caleb Kuda was at the 18th Ghanaian Doctors and Dentists Association conference in the UK and reports.
The Ghanaian Doctors and Dentists Association UK have been trying to rectify this memorandum of understanding with the Ghana Medical and Dental Council since 2005. Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK, Papa Uso Ankuma, has commended the association for its efforts in giving back to Ghana.
It will be difficult, if not impossible, to prevent Ghanaians, especially professionals, from leaving Ghana for so-called greener pastures, particularly having regard to the relatively large number of professionals we turn out annually, coupled with the relatively poor conditions of service, including compensation, they enjoy as compared to the conditions in the developed economies. Hence, I have since then urged governments in Ghana to concentrate on developing and implementing policies that will enable Ghana to not only benefit from the brains and financial resources of our diaspora, but at the same time, regularize migration from Ghana so as to avoid the exploitation of our citizens. I have advocated at the highest level of policymaking in Ghana the need for Ghana to leverage the caliber and quality of our human resource to our greatest advantage. So I therefore urge the GDDA to contribute to these conversations as Ghana develops policies in this direction. I'm looking forward to Ghana in the not too distant future becoming an educational, health, and financial services hub in Africa that will enable us to take the fullest advantage of the skills of our professionals in the diaspora for a win-win situation.
Now, this MOU, which has been long in the making, several years, more than 2005, so you can do the maths. Now, it will pave the way for us to offer a more effective service provision to the Ghanaian public, as well as training provision for undergraduates and postgraduate doctors in collaboration with the teaching hospitals in Ghana, as well as the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. Now, GDDA will have a close collaboration with the University of Ghana Dental School, for whom we are grateful to have Professor Sandra Hewitt here. You're welcome. With all these heads of institutions, different regulatory bodies here, you can see that a lot of work has gone into arriving at today's ratification.
The Registrar of MDC Ghana, Dr. Divine Banyubala, has been explaining to Citi News the details of the MOU and how it will benefit Ghana's healthcare system.
Significant investment in service delivery infrastructure in Ghana, where we think that with the support of specialists and subspecialists here, we may be able to undertake high-level specialist healthcare service provision in Ghana to reposition Ghana as a health tourism hub for West Africa. Then also, we have a lot of colleagues at home who may be wishing to do research, but there are limited capacity and resources and funding opportunities. Yet we have colleagues here who, by their standing in the profession and academia, may have had networks in the area of being able to, for example, get research grants to conduct health-related research. And we are saying that we are encouraging this through this MOU to facilitate that kind of partnership.
For Citi News, I am Caleb Kuda, Radisson Blue, Heathrow, UK.
Away from that, the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Isaac Adongo, has cautioned government against celebrating at the praise singing it is getting from the IMF. The fund has described Ghana's growth in 2023 as more resilient than anticipated. Ghana and the IMF have agreed a staff-level agreement on economic policies and reforms to conclude the first review of the country's 3-year program under the fund's extended credit facility. Ghana is yet to receive the necessary financing assurances from its external creditors, but the IMF has already indicated that the second $600 million tranche of the $3 billion loan is likely to be disbursed in November. Reacting to the IMF's praise of Ghana's performance, Isaac Adongo says the IMF is under global pressure to prove that its methods are still potent.
Everybody knew that the credit committee did not issue any financing assurances. And we know that the communique that came from the credit committee was to say that they have constituted a committee chaired by China and Germany. But the IMF somersaulted to imply that that is financing guarantees. You see, the IMF is under serious international scrutiny, and the IMF methods have been challenged across the globe. So the IMF wants a success story, and Ghana has always been a success story. So the low-hanging fruit first, before you go to Sri Lanka, which is very difficult to deal with. So there's a general sense in which the IMF is in a race of time, against time, to demonstrate that its methods work. So when you go to bring IMF, which is a consultant to you, and you are the client, and the IMF came to say that, look, I have the method to make sure that you are surviving. And I can do a good job for you, and you'll be back to fitness. You want them to now come and tell that they have failed. If you want to see the true size of their performance, let them leave office. And the IMF will be very brutal and frank about what is happening. But at the moment, we will bear with the diplomatic language. But we also can analyze the numbers. Fortunately, we can also analyze the numbers. And we can tell. When you go to the market, you do need IMF to tell you that you can't buy a bowl of kenke. You don't need anybody to tell you.
You heard the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament and MP for Bolgatanga Central, Isaac Adongo.
The Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, says it has been fair to inhabitants of the Ashanti region in relation to infrastructural projects. This comes on the back of concerns raised by some residents that the region has been neglected in terms of development. The Executive Director of the GNPC Foundation, Dr. Dominic Kwesi Edua, however, insists that the region has received its fair share of development, as GNPC has earmarked on 123 projects in the region alone.
In terms of infrastructure, as you may know, we've done a lot with respect to classroom blocks. We've done a lot with respect to dormitories, science blocks, and sick bays, dining halls, and all that. I mean, that's talking about education alone in terms of infrastructure. So, with Ashanti region in perspective, I will say with a lot of confidence that GMPC has been fair, very, very fair to Ashanti region in terms of giving out projects. We are currently working in all 16 regions. We started in Western region as the enclave of the oil production, and then we moved to other regions. As we speak, in terms of all the projects that we do, I mean, in this case, I'll add the astroturfs, I'll add the boreholes, I'll add sanitary facilities, and all.
Dr. Dominic Kwesi-Odua is the Executive Director of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation Foundation.
Residents of Mefe and Bato in the North Tong districts of the Volta region are calling on authorities to strictly enforce the 100-meter safety buffer zone along the Volta River. They are concerned about encroachment resulting from sand mining and residential construction along the river banks. This encroachment has exacerbated flooding in these communities during controlled spillage events at the Akosombo Dam. Our Volta regional correspondent Desmond Algo has further details in this report read by Adjoa Tenkrama.
Despite warnings from the dam authorities to stay at a safe distance from the river to prevent potential loss of lives and properties during spillage, some residents in Mepe and Bator continue to encroach upon this designated area, exacerbating the flooding issue. Additionally, sand mining activities in the region worsen the situation. The Assembly member for the Mepe electoral area provides insights into the situation.
Somewhere along the line, we were told that we should stay 100 meters away from the river. But our people did not buy into that idea. And recently, there was a sand winning activities by our people. And I made a pronouncement that we shouldn't win the sand but rather let's develop it into a modern beach like that of Manette. And our people says no. And this is what is happening. This is just a spirit, and it is causing us so much like this. Then what about if the dam itself were to get broken or to be broken? What do you think will happen? So I'm of the view that our people should stop the sand winning. Let's come back to the drawing table so that we take a critical look at it. Whichever way we develop it into beach, rather, it will also fetch us money. And then one aspect of it too is that when people are coming out from elsewhere coming to the Mepe town, it will help boost our local economic as well. Okadama will also carry somebody. Plagia will also go. Somebody, the people will buy water from the people, the indigenes. So let us use this method rather to develop the locality. That is why there is a committee in the district called LED, Local Economic Development. So these are the only things that we can use to develop the locality. But taking it away in future, when it got finished, what are we going to do? There is no job opportunity in the town. Mepe is a farming and fishing community. There's no job opportunity. That's why all the youth are running away, seeking for greener pastures somewhere. So let's develop the town so that our people will stay here. But I'm not for the sand winning.
Amos Ahosubalo, the Assembly member for the Mepe electoral area, has emphasized the need for proper education to ensure that residents adhere to the rules set by the Volta River Authority to prevent such incidents in the future.
We are to stay 100 meters away from the river. And I think it has to be best known to any district or district that finds itself in this area of jurisdiction. So who gave them the permit before they are building close to the river? If it is a temporary structure, fine. But permanent structures like this, story buildings, urban submerged, and all that, what is VRA doing about it? I think this is the time. Now that it has happened like this, it is the time that they have to come in and advise the people that this shouldn't be the way. If you want a proper, settlement, it shouldn't be this way.
Some affected residents in Mepe who have expressed significant property losses are calling on authorities to halt activities along the riverbanks to safeguard their lives and assets. Many have been forced to leave their homes and seek refuge with friends and neighbors.
Part of the building are all in the water. The bathhouse that we use, we have external bathhouse, not in the room, it's outside. The toilet and all those places are immersed in the water. So, one, places to stay is a problem. Two, environmental hazard. We can no longer fetch water at the main river. So the toilets and those places which are captured by the disease also are affected. So it means the water is somehow polluted before. If you cannot go high place to buy pure water and those things to drink, then it means you are compelled to drink those contaminated waters too. Affecting particularly those people who are in the environment here. So if you can go down, you see the level where the water reaches. So I think it just, you see those children there, when you go there, the level is lower there. So the water passes through and comes back. As for this place, it's high. The place I'm talking of is at the other side of the, unless we go there before you can see what is happening actually. Most of us who are affected, we have to seek refuge with families. And then, in fact, it was a burden to those people since the facility they are also staying in is not, they are not ready to accommodate us, let me say it that way. So it became a problem to them. So I feel next time when this flood will come, there must be enough education that people will be aware that the flood is coming and a precise time that it will come so that they can quickly leave the area for safety. Otherwise, it might cause some problem to those who cannot manage the situation.
The North Tongue District Assembly says it is working actively on measures to prevent such occurrences in the future.
Residents in Mepe and Bato here in the North Tongue District of the Volta region are appealing to authorities to put in safety measures to ensure that properties are not affected anytime the spillage of the dam occurs. Reporting for Citi News from Mepe in the North Tongue District of the Volta region, I'm Desmond Selasiago.
And in the studios of Citi FM, I am Wilma Obubisa Coleman here with Eno Safo. You're listening to the Citi Prime News. Still to come in the bulletin, we'll bring you a wrap of the Literacy Challenge 2023 hosted by Citi TV and Citi FM, where Armstrong Nelson Jikunu, a student from Jaire International School, emerged winner over the weekend. We'll bring you details of that and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Happy birthday to you. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Throughout all life-changing moments such as graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays, ATL is there to ensure you're never out of style. When you think fabric, think ATL. Log on to atlfabrics.com. Order and buy your favorite ATL fabric. You can also visit our shop at number 40 Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, opposite the Swansea Shopping Arcade at Accra Central. Also available in leading fabric dealer shops in Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
You know the now. You are living the now. You feel secure in the now. But what about tomorrow? What happens when you can no longer do the things you love? What happens to your loved ones when you are no longer here? Get Mikakrawa from Prudential Life now and protect your future and that of your loved ones. With as little as 3 Ghana cedis, Mikakrawa covers you in case of death, total and permanent disability, or critical illness.
Fafus this year, Nadal, star 778 ash. Oh, I'm telling you this year. Come on this year. Down this year.
See, no one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. Anything can happen. Once more, you will fit enjoy to sorrow. In such times, we rely on insurance. Charlie, no need to borrow.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, a tax consultant, Dr. Alex Ampabing, is urging the government to reduce the e-levy rate from the current 1%. The tax consultant wants government to peg the rate between 0.25% and 0.5% to boost compliance and increase revenue generated through mobile money transactions. His comments comes on the back of plans by the government for substantial overhaul of the electronic transfer levy as part of its medium-term revenue strategy. Speaking to Citi News, Dr. Alex Ampabing said the earlier reduction in the rate led to an increase in revenue.
Looking at the revenue gap between the 1% and the 1.5, I will go between 0.25 to 0.5. I think within that range, government can use it to test and see what happens in the next 12 months, if it's worth maintaining it. But keeping it at the 1% with the current economic challenges, I really do think government has to be more considerate. Things are really tough for people. And the only way out, at least to cushion Ghanaians at this difficult time, is not to overtax, but at least consider reducing the tax rate. Of course, we all understand that we are under the IMF, there's so much challenge, and government having a huge deficit to fill. But raising the rate is not a guarantee, and the e-levy shouldn't be the only revenue opportunity we are looking at. There are so many avenues.
Dr. Alice Ampabing further cautioned government against scrapping the 100 Ghana cedis exemption threshold.
If government takes away the exempt amount and does not reduce the rate, I'm 100% sure that we won't get even closer to the amount that we are generating now. And I think if government is bent on generating revenue, they should consider reducing the rate and also maintaining or at least increasing the threshold. Definitely, because see, the moment they remove the threshold or if they maintain the current rate, people start using all the cash out or walking in distance to do fiscal transactions. And this is no-brainer. Already it has failed. You remember at the 1.5 rate, what happened? So it will be more like going backwards to a tax system that's already failing.
Dr. Alice Ampabing is a tax consultant.
The chairman of the board of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. David Nkansa, has urged Parliament to expedite the creation of laws and legislation to allow for the harvesting and transplant of vital body tissues to save lives and reduce treatment costs. During his address at the launch of the hospital's centenary anniversary, he also called upon Parliament to back the hospital's aspiration to attain international recognition as a healthcare facility noted for critical health intervention in the West African sub-region.
We will also support the introduction of other services and procedures through further training of our staff that will make it needless for Ghanaians to travel in other countries for medical care. We are therefore calling on Parliament and other agencies to support the preparation and passage of the law on tissue donation, harvesting and storage of various organs that will save the lives of thousands of Ghanaians who are sick and in need of help. I would like to congratulate all past government, management and staff for their efforts that have contributed in making Kolebu such a formidable force in the delivery of specialized care in Ghana. Our ultimate aim is to position Kolebu as a medical tourism hub in the sub-region. As part of the initiative, we plan to gradually secure international accreditation for some of our services in our quest to support the country to achieve universal health coverage.
Dr. Nkansa additionally emphasized the hospital's need to evolve into a center for medical tourism with the goal of achieving universal health coverage.
Access to health relates to the opportunity to obtain appropriate use of quality health services. It is concerning with the degree of fit or compatibility between the health system on one hand and individuals who need to use these services on the other hand. We are aware that Ghanaians still have complaints with the delivery of health services. We plan to ensure that the access to health is improved at Korle Bu to lead to a better health for our citizens and improved wealth of our nation as a result of the higher productivity and higher returns to households.
Dr. David Nkansa is chairman of the board of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital.
At the grand finale of the Literacy Challenge 2023, Armstrong Nelson Jikunu, students from Jaire International School in Ashaiman, emerged the winner, beating off competition from 9 other contestants. But before he emerged victorious, the Literacy Challenge 2023 journey has been one of obstacles and opportunities. Here is a report by Citi News' Rachel Engman, narrated by Fred Duho, which will give us all the essential details of the competition.
The highly competitive quiz took place on Saturday, October 7 at the Crystal Palm Hotel Annex in Tesano, marking the climax of the 2023 Literacy Challenge. The top 10 finalists showcased their exceptional skills. In a captivating display of academic prowess, all contestants delivered performances that justified their presence in the grand finale. They tackled questions that encompassed a combination of social studies, literature or language, and reasoning in the first round.
His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo publicly present the constitutional instrument on the creation of the 6 newly created regions. On which date did His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo publicly present the constitutional instrument on the creation of the 6 newly created regions?
13th February 2021.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It was 13th February, but 2019. 2019. How many constituencies does Ghana have? How many constituencies does Ghana have?
261.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
275 is the answer.
The contestants displayed remarkable knowledge in the second round, which required them to answer mathematical questions.
If the ratio M is to P is equal to 1 is to 1, and P is to R is equal to 4 is to 5, what is the value of M divided by R? M over R.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 is correct.
687 Ghana cedis.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It's correct.
As the competition progressed, some participants began losing points due to incorrect answers or their inability to respond to certain scientific concepts in round 3.
Blood circulation. Who is the scientist that it's credited to? Blood circulation. Your time is up. The scientist is William Harvey. Box in your throat. I contain the vocal cords which vibrate to produce sound. I help you speak and shout. I can make different sounds, like a cat's mew or a dog's bark. I am made of cartilage and I'm covered in muscle. What am I?
Larynx or voice box?
Say it again.
Larynx or voice box?
Okay, that's correct. It's a larynx. larynx or voice box.
The final round focused on a science practical sponsored by Dext Technology with a potential of 30 marks for perfectly executed tasks. After the conclusion of round 4, the competition ended in a tiebreaker between two contestants who had amassed the same number of points. With the tiebreaker for second place resolved, it was time to announce this year's Literacy Challenge winners.
Let's say a big congratulations to Alberta Kote. Alberta Kote. Please stand here. A big congratulations, and let's call up in second place Akosia Ejakoma Adiel Safo. Coming all the way from D&D Academy in Kumasi. Okay, there's also a cash prize there. In first place, the Literacy Challenge winner 2023. In the first place, a big congratulations to Armstrong Nelson Chikuru. Put your hands together for him. That's his mother laying prostrate on the ground in exhilaration. She's beside herself.
The winner and runners-up shared their excitement with Citi News in an interview.
I'm overjoyed because I never expected it in the first place. In the first round, when the results were declared, I was a bit afraid because I thought I was not going to be in this position. But by the grace of God, I've made it this far, and I thank God for that. Well, I want to encourage those who were not able to make it to this stage that this is not the end of the road. There is more room for improvement. Because the downfall of a man is not his end. But from what I have done, I need not to say much because I should speak louder than words, actually. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you stay. So far as you are adequately prepared and you have what it takes, you are going to win.
I was a little bit nervous, but it's really good. I'm really excited. I wanted the first position, but being second is an achievement for me too.
I am excited because I am the first winner in government schools because I am from a public school and I am the first to come to the Literacy Challenge to win from my school. So I am very excited.
Several sponsors expressed their satisfaction with the competition.
In this 21st century, we say education has changed. And so even the 21st literate person is not just someone who can read and write. It's supposed to be someone who has innovative, creative capacity. And let's be real, if you can read and write today, it is not enough to guarantee you a place in the future. But with the added advantage of being creative, with your hands and being able to solve problems with the activities you are being taught in school will get you out there. And that is why we decided to be part and parcel of Citi FM and TV's Literacy Challenge this year as well.
I'm so proud of the youth we are raising. They are so talented, very knowledgeable about everything because they were tested in general knowledge, English, their maths, they even did some experiments. I'm really, really proud of the finalists.
The Literacy Challenge is a nationwide competition divided into 3 levels dedicated to promoting literacy among junior high school students across the country. Notably, this year's Literacy Challenge demonstrated an impressive gender balance with 7 girls and 3 boys. The regional representation was diverse, with 6 contestants from the Greater Accra region, 1 from the Ahafo region, 2 from the Central Region, and 1 from the Ashanti Region. The Literacy Challenge 2023 was powered by Citi TV, supported by Citi FM, and sponsored by the Ghana National Gas Company, Webby Crunchy Biscuits by M Foods, SIC Insurance PLC, Prospectus Ghana Limited, Dext Technology, Alive Soap, and Fortune Rice.
Well, a big congratulations to Armstrong Nelson Jukunu, a student of the Jari International School, on winning the Literacy Challenge 2023. And that's it for the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, you can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Ubobi-Sakoman, and I did this with
Eno Safo.
Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News. Many thanks for doing the listening, and do have a good afternoon.